talking about groups, reflecting on the millennial question, nearly 10 years later now.
Has it been that long?
8 years.
Wow. Time flies.
Given that...
That was a wild day. I remember that.
Well, those millennials have grown up now.
Mm.
What advice would you give to Gen Z who are dealing with a different but challenging climate?
So a lot of the things I said in that original commentary are still true. I think Gen Z is different than millennials in many ways the same. I mean, from the technology standpoint, some of the parenting standpoint. I think where they have an advantage is I think their parents, especially the ones who are a little younger now, are more aware of over-coddling their kids, which is the mistake that millennial parents made, right? So we're better at affirming emotions. We're betting at kids allowing, to struggle, things like that. Where they are very different than millennials and the original criticisms of millennials, which is millennials were accused of being slacktivists back in their day when they were younger, which is they'd love to go on Twitter and tell you their opinion while they're sitting in the back of an Uber on their way to brunch, right? Like they didn't do anything. They didn't show up, right? Where Gen Z are an activist generation. They don't just complain. They strike. They protest. They speak out. They vote. They run for office. We're having all these young kids running for office, these 25-year-olds running for office. And they're much more action-oriented for the things that are scaring them or bothering them on all sides of the political aisles. And I think that's a good thing. They're taking accountability. Whether we disagree with how they're doing it, that's debatable, that's fine. But they're making sacrifices and they're putting themselves out there, which I think is great. The technology addiction is still a thing, but I think it's a thing for all of us. I think it's pronounced when kids grow up with it because they don't know any different. And again, it's not their fault, it's parents. Parents who give unfettered access to a device when a child is young, they're setting themselves up for some real challenges later. I think there's lots of data now. When I was first talking about it with millennials, it sounded like sort of whiny, Luddite adults. But now Jonathan Haidt has written about it extensively, and there's lots and lots of data on it now. And we all know what dopamine is. We all know what a dopamine addiction is. We all know that the social media companies are hijacking our dopamine system. We all know it. It's like common knowledge now, right? So I think the awareness that they have is good. But the advice is the same, which is, and I think what Gen Z is struggling with more than probably millennials is the loneliness question. And I think partially because of technology and isolation, and because I can have a friend online. And now the rise of AI friends, that's going to be a whole new thing. But I'm going to double down on what I've said before, which is if we can find ways to help them make friends. And I'm meeting young people who are still in college or just graduating high school or college. And the thing that they're reporting is they really struggled to make friends when they were in college. But again, they're an activist generation, right? So like there's at least one I know. Her name's Alix. She started a company called Clicks where, in full disclosure, I met Alix and I fell in love with her mission and I advised her and made a small investment. So just for full disclosure. But basically she started a company to help young people make friends because she struggled to make friends. And the way she does it is by in-person events. And she's very open how she has started an app that she wants people to spend less and less time on her app, which is like, you tell that to an investor that, that's horrible. So I think I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because they are so attentive. I'm hopeful for the future because of this young generation.
What are the mistakes of older generations that millennials should not repeat?
So the doubling down on rugged individualism, one. The concept of business existing for the benefit of an investor, whether it's a public markets or venture capitalist. No, the business exists to give something of benefit to a customer, make their lives easier, make it more fun, take them on a journey, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And if you do that, the investors will win. But you don't build a company for an investor. You build a company for a customer. And you make the employees love the mission that they're on to serve those customers. I hope they undo that ridiculous mentality that is pervasive in business today. I think some of the things that the rugged individualism one is crazy, and you can see how we've built incentive structures that are all about individual achievement and not about team or group achievement. So I don't want them to repeat those mistakes. They have an opportunity to this is not how business always, capitalism as Adam Smith imagined it when he wrote about it in The Wealth of Nations wasn't what we have now. He was customer focused. He was employee focused. And it was Jack Welch, the CEO of GE back in the 80s and 90s, and an economist named Milton Friedman that made capitalism what it is today. So capitalism is good, just not this version of it.
Before we continue, I've been drinking AG1 every morning for years now, and it just got even better. AG1 Next Gen keeps the same simplicity, 1 scoop once per day, but now comes with 4 clinical trials backing it. In those trials, AG1 Next Gen was clinically shown to fill common nutrient gaps, improve key nutrient levels within 3 months, and increase healthy gut bacteria by 10 times, even in healthy adults. Basically, they've upgraded the formula with better probiotics, more bioavailable nutrients, and clinical validation. Plus, it's still NSF certified for sport, so even Olympic athletes can use it. AG1 genuinely care about holistic health, which is why I've got my mum to take it, my dad to take it, and tons of my friends too, and why I put it inside of my body every day. And if I found anything better, I would switch, but I haven't, which is why I still use it. And if you're still unsure, they've got a 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can buy it and try it for 3 months. If you don't like it, they'll just give you your money back. Right now, you can get a year's free supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs, plus that 90-day money-back guarantee by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. That's drinkag1.com/modernwisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, the full episode is available right here. Go on. Press it.